We posit that there is a whiteness pandemic behind the racism pandemic, and that this begins in the family system where young children are socialized into the culture of whiteness within white families. Our first recommendation is to remember that the whiteness pandemic is a pandemic. If you were born and raised in the United States, especially in a white family, then you've been raised in the pandemic, and you can play a role in halting and reversing this pandemic. We have two specific recommendations to that end. The first is for white parents to invest time in their own racial identity development through joining an organization like Showing Up for Racial Justice or your local BLM chapter. Yeah, let's just go recommend people join, a terrorist organization. Yes, you heard that correctly. Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. They're full of domestic terrorists. But while I was watching that video just now, there's two words that stand out to me, right? Minnesota and professor, right? Those two words, they just told me everything I need to know, right? We know Minnesota right now is just cooked, right? The city of Minneapolis have taken that city has taken so many L's, bro. Like George Floyd, the unfortunate death, right, of George Floyd, who died of fentanyl, right? They proved that. Don't know why Derek Chauvin is still doing time, but but now that I think of it, it's probably better that he stays in there because if he does get released, he's probably not gonna make it like 24 hours because they're gonna get him. But that city has burned down. People are burning down stores, looting stores like it's normal. And then the word, professor. We already know what time it is when you see professor, right? Because that indicates that she probably is a professor at a college, right? In high school, they call them teachers. In college, you're calling professors. And this is what I've been noticing is like college is really just an indoctrination camp. Like these kids go in not knowing what to think, right? They're 18 years old, they really haven't been swayed yet, right? And then they come out of college and they have these crazy liberal ideologies or progressive ideologies that that they didn't have before they went to college. So those are the two words I needed to see for that to tell me everything I need to know about that video. Minnesota and professor. That's all I need to know I mean, a whiteness pandemic, right? A whiteness pandemic. Come on, man. And then you're gonna recommend somebody join a terrorist organization. Incredible. Give a damn if they burn down Target. Because Target should be on the streets with us, calling for the justice that our people deserve. Don't talk to us about looting. Y'all are the looters. America has looted black people. America looted the Native Americans when they first came here. So looting is what you do. We learned it from you. We learned violence. No, if you go into Target and you loot a Target store or you burn down a Target store, it's not your fault. The government taught you violence. They're responsible for your actions. I am not accountable at all for my actions. Now, it's one thing when a regular citizen says this, but when the crime advisor for New York City, appointed by Mamdani, says some shit like that, I don't give a damn if they burn down Target. Yeah, now we have a problem. The reason that that is a problem and that's a big problem is because she's a crime advisor. And a crime advisor has, I wouldn't say crazy influence, right? But she has some sort of influence as to what type of crimes will be, taken more serious in New York City, right? It's literally in the title, crime advisor. She's probably going to be in Zoran Mamdani's ear, or people at the top. She's going to be in their ear saying, "Oh yeah, we should focus on this more than that. Maybe we should take this more seriously than that problem." And destroying businesses is not a good thing. And I know she didn't say it. It definitely implies what she's trying to say, that looting stores, burning down Targets is fine. That's basically because even though she didn't say it, that's what her supporters and that's what the people who normally do these activities are going to believe. They're not going to look at it and oh, we definitely shouldn't loot stores. No, they're going to say, oh, she says we don't give a damn if they burn down stores, so maybe it's okay for us to do that. But yeah, so these blue run cities, man, New York City might be finished, cooked, fried, deep fried, everything. And of course, they always have to, slip in that little victim card, conveniently slip in that victim card. You taught us this, looted black people, all this stuff. Craziness, man. And this is somebody of power. This is somebody who has power. Crazy.
and sending troops marching into the streets.
Can I just say, as the only immigrant right now on this podcast who immigrated here legally, I feel much safer and better under a Donald Trump presidency than I ever did under a Biden presidency. Just want you to hear it from my mouth for what that's worth.
Do you feel safer about the fact that a Latino doctor crossing the street in Washington, D.C. Is getting hassled or harassed because they're brown?
I don't think that I've heard that. Now,
Okay, so you're not aware of any case in which a U.S. citizen who is
no.
like you, but you're
Me, no.
literally
But I will tell you, for example, after
Whoa,
9/11.
wait, you're on a podcast commenting about immigration. Surely you have some level of awareness.
Let me tell you, after 9/11, for example, for years I had SSS on my boarding passes. And I was pulled over constantly, and people probably thought that I was a Muslim hijacker.
Mhm.
So I know what it feels like to be harassed. And what I'm telling you categorically is I feel safer in this presidency than I've ever felt. And I'm just letting you know that. Just my lived experience.
Yeah, they did not like that response or comment at all. You could see both their faces like, yo, why is this? What is this guy talking about? Like, why are you mentioning this? You see, what people, liberals and progressives, right, and Democrats, who think we should have an open border, right, and everybody should just come in. What they don't understand is that, like, the people who came here legally and actually did the process the right way, right, the expensive route, lawyers on lawyers on lawyers, having to go to court dates, having to do this, having to do that. They don't understand that those people, like, they don't really like they actually mess with Trump more. And the reason why is because they're asking themselves the question, like, I had to come here and do it myself. I had to come here and work hard, pay for my lawyers, go to court dates. Sometimes you miss court dates and they delay it. The decision takes so long to happen, right? The reason why they like Trump and why they mess with Trump's immigration law, because they're asking themselves the question: if I had to do it the hard way, why does a person just that who comes from the same country as me or another country or is an immigrant, which is similar to me, they don't have to pay anything. They actually get money from the government. Why? How is that fair? I had to do the process myself. I had to do go the hard way around. I had to take the long route, and these people just get to stroll in and have the easy way in. Makes no sense. But it's crazy. A lot of these legal immigrants, they won't say that because obviously they don't want to piss the other immigrants off, right? But a lot of legal immigrants, that's how they feel. How dare you undermine my process and how long it took for me to be a citizen of this country or even get my green card, right? And these people could just walk in like that, unchecked. Crazy. But yeah, this is how a lot of the legal immigrants feel about that situation. And that's why they mess with Trump and they feel safer under a Trump administration.